Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, da doo-dah day.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to Last Man Standing. If you did not watch Stupid O'Clock tonight, once again, you missed out on a good one. We rambled around all over the place and had a lot of fun and brought up some interesting and pertinent information and some silly stuff, which we are really, really good at. Now, tonight, Richie's under the weather. Dawn is under the weather. Neither one of them feel really good, so they've gone to bed. Aunt Donna has gone to bed. Chris has graciously agreed to join me sometime later. Not right this minute, but as soon as he gets some stuff taken care of. John's got to go wash dishes. Joe Dog was about to fall out before we even ended Stupid O'Clock. So I imagine he's going straight to bed. So this will either be me and Chris talking about music all night or whatever we get up to, or it'll be a short show or both. Never can tell. We might have a few surprise guests popping in. If they do, it's going to be a surprise to me just as much as it is to you. And Chris is here now, and we will just kind of wing it until we both go, "Hey, we're out of stuff." So
we're pretty good at winging it.
Well, we do it so well. I mean, seriously.
we got enough facts and probably pointless trivia between us two.
And meaningless opinions. I'm full of meaningless opinions. I'm an old guy. What can I say? Oh, Lord. I've got to say, I'm very happy with this air conditioner. It's actually cool in here for a change. The when I go out in the rest of when I go down the hallway for the obvious reason, I can feel heat radiating from the attic through the ceiling, even though we had the attic fan on, trying to blow all the hot air out of the attic. But I think a couple of politicians have probably taken roost up there because it's full of hot air right now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it just the attic fan is not cutting the mustard right now. I'm thinking strongly about running a water hose and some sprinklers up on top of the roof and just letting it cool off the roof through the hot summer. I mean, yeah, we look like a steam bath, but otherwise we feel like a steam bath in here. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the house had never had central heat and air.
Yeah.
If it did, we'd be wearing that bugger out right now.
Yeah. It's summer, and I hate to think about what August is going to be like. August is my least favorite month, weather-wise, because of the heat.
No, I don't need a hail pail. I don't have any problem with going, I got to go down the hall. Y'all amuse yourselves while I'm absent. I've even got commercials written up and, for my own stuff because I haven't been sent commercials for other people that I could use. Hint, hint, Nick Talkert.
And Rising Tide has changed their stuff up so much; it's kind of hard to keep up with all the changes.
Yeah, I can't even do the schedule anymore. I used to do the schedule card for Rising Tide, and the shows change. People go, "Hey, we're going to take a break," and people go, "Hey, we're going to once a month rather than every week," and other people go, "We're doing every other week," so.
Basically, they chase more squirrels than Joe does.
Yep. Oh, I will say this about Rising. Well, it's not Rising Tide. It's John Pica's network. I can't remember what that
Back
is.
in
Back in the
cereal
cereal
box.
box. Yep. Cryptid Crunches is going to have an episode tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
Um, are lizard people real? I'm looking forward to that. Everybody, please do join Willow and her crew. Um, it should be absolutely fascinating. I was able to 2 weeks ago. I was able to add a little bit to the show by way of the comment section,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and Will is going, "Oh wow, yeah, I didn't realize you knew a lot about this. Um, if we covered that particular topic, um, maybe we should get you invited in on the show." And I'm going, "Well, yeah, give me time to make up some notes." And that would be absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Going through stuff in other programs here, um, different chat things. We'll just turn that off. It's not
Mm.
going to benefit us anymore. Did you see the video of the gal who lost her whatever on the airplane? No, that one does not
No.
make any sense to me at all. Doesn't ring any bells. So um,
No.
we we were informed of the unfortunate person that uh, left. I don't know why I'm trying to be delicate at this time of night, and
Yeah.
it's not like I'm trying to get monetized here.
No.
Um, somebody was having an MRI and was wearing a butt plug.
Oh Lord.
and the magnetic field of the MRI displaced this device in an unfortunate direction.
Ooh.
Uh-huh. I do not
That.
I do
Ooh.
not even want to imagine the injuries involved in that. Seriously. That's that's
Yeah.
that's gotta hurt. Um I thought it was stupid when people would leave their earrings and nose rings in, or other piercings, and go through an MRI and wind up being um, tugged in different directions, or as often happens with metal in a magnetic field, it gets really warm. You wind up with burns. So uh, let that be a lesson to you. Remove all your jewelry,
Yeah.
including the stuff you don't think of as jewelry, before you get into an MRI. Uh, you look that up.
That just. Oh. I, I,
I'm
I,
laugh-
I wouldn't have
I'm
it there in the first place, but good God Almighty.
I'm laughing at your reaction, not the situation. Um, Heavenly day. Um, I haven't the faintest idea, Carl. I'm going to wait till tomorrow night, and really, I I wish Willow and Keisha and Kale could do that every week, but that's not the way that their show is scheduled. So you
No.
know, reality trumps everything.
Oh, one thing I forgot to mention up because kept changing lanes and I kept trying to steer the subject matter back. I didn't have enough time to quite do it. Is um, Rob Brown shared a drawing of Rom Space Knight, and I'm like, I really enjoyed that comic book.
It was not bad. I used to collect it. It was not bad at all. It had some interesting points to it. Had a decent amount of action and adventure.
Yeah,
It was uh, very it was very well drawn. Although I wasn't fond of every artist that worked on it, but
yeah.
most of them, it was beautiful to look at. Um,
Well, not only that, it was a compelling storyline because he sacrificed himself to save his planet and his family.
mhm. You'd be surprised at how often that is a plot point in comic books if you're not um, well versed in
Yeah.
not only the classic but the modern comic books.
Well, that's one of the recurring themes is you do something for the greater good, even if it costs you,
Big time.
yeah, it
Um,
costs you a part of yourself because you have to give so much to others.
and that goes back to Campbell's hero's journey,
Hmm.
or from so long ago. But still, that is where we draw certain tropes that we use in storytelling. It's one of those resources that even if you don't know about it, you unconsciously do it. It's that tied to the human
Hmm.
experience.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that makes those stories and characters so compelling is because they've sacrificed part of themselves for the greater good.
Hmm.
You know, the oft quoted since the movie, especially, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
Unless you're Deadpool.
Yeah, with great power comes great irresponsibility. Yeah. You'd be surprised at how many times historically that has been true.
Yep.
Well, it goes back to the fact that just because they're the hero doesn't mean they're a good guy.
Well, there is the infamous anti-hero.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's not even where I was going. I mean, seriously, sometimes you wind up being the hero and you're a jerk, but you're
Well,
still the hero. So, yeah,
yeah, that's Deadpool.
exactly.
Jerk, but he is a hero, and he's excellent at being a jerk because he
Oh,
really doesn't care what you think.
that's the thing. That's the absolute thing. Not only the character, but Ryan Reynolds himself. He
Well,
has he has no cares left to give, and he's just absolutely comfortable with it, and that's so refreshing.
well, you're familiar with the Gretchen Wilson song "I Give a Damn's Busted."
Mm-hmm.
His is so completely destroyed that there's no possibility of fixing it or getting it put back together or replacing it.
Super glue ain't even going to help there.
No,
Uh,
the replicator on Star Trek couldn't put that thing back together. That's how
mhm.
discombobulated it is.
And still he perseveres.
Oh my gosh, I said a big word.
That's all right. Uh,
Lord, I apologize. Bless all starving little pygmies in New Guinea.
hey! Carl's the only one watching right now, so he'll comment officially in the morning when he watches the whole thing through, unless we just go ahead and call the whole show off before he goes to bed. Uh,
God, could you mention him hashtagging discombobulated?
uh, yeah, there's not been that
This
many of
shit doesn't even crop up in the green room.
yep. Carl's bowing out on us now, so
Good
it's
luck on
just
your secret shopping trip and mission in the morning.
oh yeah. You have a great evening too,
Yep.
Carl. Go get you
Thanks for
some
joining
sleep.
in, Carl.
It
Appreciate
it
you,
was
brother.
it's wonderful to have you.
Good night.
Megan might show up again.
Maybe.
Yeah, if she does, she does. It's her life. I mean, seriously.
Oh, yeah. I know. She's her own woman.
Oh no, Carl. It's not that we can't mention it. It's just we don't think to. Um,
Yeah. And let's face it, sometimes people's too smashed to,
get philosophical.
yeah, or deal with words like discombobulated. For some reason, I like us. I'm enjoying saying that word tonight. I don't know
You
why.
like
It's
you like you like the sound of that word,
yeah,
and it's a good word. It's a really good word, and it fits in with our accent actually.
yeah. Well, I had to. Somebody was asking if they'd spelled cattywampus right, and they spelled it with a K, but the rest of it was right.
Close.
Yep. Hey, I give them A for effort.
Hey, phonetically, okay, yeah.
I mean, considering this person wasn't from the South originally, it's perfectly understandable.
Yeah, really. And if you
Have
like
you ever watched It's a Southern Thing in their little shorts? Oh, nice one.
She handed me one of my own lines. Yes, indeed. Uh, well,
Well, I
it's
mentioned you were known for saying it a few
it's.
weeks ago.
Have we added Stephanie to the link list yet? I mean, Megan.
I don't know if she wants to participate, but I can send her a link if you want me to.
Well, go ahead. I mean, it's her choice. Um, seriously. May and if she did come on, she might even consent to turn her camera on. Uh, once again, her choice. Avatars are fine. We are used to people using avatars.
Even I do it
Skunk
from
does
time to
it all
time.
the time. Um,
Kiri does it most of the time.
lots. Oh yeah, Carrie. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, you have a choice.
yes. It's your choice. Nothing about us is compulsive or compulsory. Excuse me.
You
Let's
you
use the
can
right word, Daniel. Com-
yeah, you can
compulsive,
set up.
yes. Compulsory, no.
You can see what your setup is before you enter the studio. When you're ready, you hit enter studio. But you have to use the link that I
Yeah.
sent you.
And we know the camera works because once she showed us the kitchen ceiling while she was cooking.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just picking on you, dear.
Dan likes to do that to people he's fond of.
I only do that to people I'm fond of.
Yep, exactly my point.
I can't take a choice. I can't take a chance on picking on people that I don't know well because
Yeah,
I don't know when I might be giving offense if I don't know them well enough to know
yeah,
where the cutoff points are and how far I can take a joke. So that's one thing I love about the green room. If you're in there, you better be able to take a joke.
yeah.
Um,
Well, that's the whole point of being a part of the group that it's in. You can't
mm,
be easily offended. That is a requirement. Okay, Miggle.
okay, well, not even an avatar. Okay,
No, there's an
uh,
avatar there.
Lots
well,
of times, I don't think if you only do like audio, it won't show the avatar.
ah,
But I need to go down the hall, so I will be back.
all right.
And then there were two.
Well, one is the loneliest number. God, I remember when that song was new. Uh, surprised we didn't play it in marching band. It would that that would have been a good one to insult the other team at football games and halftime shows. But I don't know. Oh, probably would have started fights in the parking lot while we're trying to get on the band bus. Uh, Oh heavens! Well, how's your evening going?
Pretty well. Pretty well. Got a roast in the oven,
Oh wow!
which is going to be French dip
Ooh, even better.
with homemade hoagies.
Madam, you interest me strangely. Oh, and believe it or not, I've gotten so busy with stuff I've got to get done this weekend. I have not even planned to cook for Lindsay tomorrow. And oh, she made fish and chips tonight, and I'm stuffed. But I can't return the favor. I usually, in the recent past, I have gotten into the habit of planning something for me to learn how to do and cook for her on Sundays, just to make sure she doesn't have to worry about it. She's already gotten my stuff to take to work to eat for Monday. So, she's done more than her job. So,
Well, you could always make her a rack of lamb with buttercream sauce.
no.
No.
Lamb is one of those things that is off of her list.
Oh, okay.
Just because they're cute. Um, which also rules out some of the things that I was used to from my childhood in in the Smoky Mountains. If it's cute, I'm not allowed to cook it anymore. So,
Mm-hmm.
not that I
Well,
would want to, but
she probably doesn't need to know about what they do with most lamb.
no, she does not.
Nope. And I'm kind of like you with that stuff that I ate as a kid. Uh, some of them were cute, but they were tasty. So,
Yep.
Do you know how many chipmunks it takes to make a meal? I mean, seriously.
probably akin to the number of squirrels it takes to make a meal.
Twice as many. Yep,
Yeah, I'll stick with squirrels.
Oh Lord.
because they're half the size.
Now I'm
Although,
thinking.
I'm sorry, although there was a guy that lived a couple of farms over from us, and he would go possum hunting without a
Hmm.
gun. He had no weapons whatsoever. He would grab the possums that he found by the tail, and you could see him walking across the pasture, swinging these possums back and forth so they couldn't curl up. And he'd take them home and clean them out, and yeah, that'd be possum stew.
Yeah, from what I understand, and now possum was never on our family's menu.
Yeah.
Neither was raccoons because they got hands.
Yeah.
They're more human than some of the people that I went to school with. So,
Yeah.
um, but from what I understand, possum is really greasy.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's greasy and it's very gamey.
Mm, yeah.
Well, this is sort of along those same lines, but not in terms of eating. When y'all were talking about how many squirrels it took, all that, automatically started thinking about Lewis Rizard saying, had this Naga had couch, we had to kill 150 of those little Nagas to get that much hide.
Believe it or not, there was a Shaggy Dog story that was done at SCA events about the hunt of the great Nauga. And you had to wait through this entire story to get the punchline. which I don't know if I should reveal because there's probably still folks in the SCA that are telling that Shaggy Dog story. But
Yeah, if you want to save it for another time, you can do that. I'm not going to
well,
hold you.
what the hell? I mean, um, they can always send me hate mail or something for ruining their joke. But basically, got to the end. It was is kind of like the hunting of the snark or a Jabberwocky or something. But at the tail end of it, after all this hunting of the great Nauga, come to find out that's why a lot of the SCA armor is made of Nauga hide. The fellow that told that one in at the one event that I went to where that story was told, absolutely perfect delivery. You did not even see it was coming until it's already hit you in the face with a punchline. It
Yeah.
just that was wonderful. That was wonderful.
Oh,
Tell me about it. Um,
yeah. Uh, I'm doing a lot of work now to try and save work later on, but let's just say I think this year's Hallowcon's gonna be truly something special.
hey, um, now uh, I have this little bugger to contribute, but I don't know if it'll ever get used. If it does, it does. If it don't, it don't. Um, but I do know it's got about 2 terabytes of movies on it, most of them in the public domain.
Hmm.
It's got about 2.5 terabytes of cartoons on it. Once again, most of them in the public domain. And it's got another
Excuse me.
terabyte or so of TV shows. Few of them in the public domain, but I like them, but copied them over to this drive anyway. So,
Yeah, well,
hey, if well, I mean, Joe's already made his choices as to what's going to be playing in the
mhm,
media room for the entire weekend. So,
yeah,
if he wants to copy stuff out of this, we can arrange
yeah,
that. I will be bringing the laptop, and it does have. There
excuse
will
me.
be enough USB ports to handle copying from the big drive to whatever
Hmm.
storage that he happens to have on hand. I don't mind. I don't care. Um, it's it's got everything that I have in my Doctor Who collection, which is not everything that still exists. Used to be, but they found some new stuff, and they've or not new stuff. They've found some of the missing stuff, and they have done uh, animated reconstructions of some of the missing stuff that I have not been able to acquire yet.
Hmm.
But uh, it does have at least uh, everything still extant from 1963 up until uh, about Christmas last year. So that's pretty good. Um, it's got the entire run of Highwayman.
Hmm.
It's got lots of Star Trek movies and shows.
Ooh, I
It's
love the Highwayman.
I was awfully fond of it. I really enjoyed it. I wish that it had been a little bit more successful and kept going.
Yeah.
Um,
Unfortunately, lots of times they don't want to spend the money it takes to make a quality show, especially back then.
well, yeah, it was very of its time.
Yeah.
So
Besides, how cool is it having a damn big rig that can have a helicopter pop out of it?
exactly. The it borrowed that much from Knight Rider that the vehicles were
Like
members of the
another cast
cast.
member. Yeah.
Yep.
I was about to say, just give me a car that can carry on a conversation with me, and I'd be happy.
You know, depending on if it's got William Daniels or somebody with the intellect to talk. You know,
Oh.
if it's Captain Caveman, it might be a little bit difficult to carry on a conversation.
I just remembered here. I've got the darn thing plugged up to this computer. Let's see. Oh heavens!
You know, I liked Street Hawk.
Mm-hmm. That was a good one. Okay, let's see. I actually can share this if I remember how. Um,
And Blue Thunder because it had Bubba Smith and Dick Butkus as the ground team. But you know, there were a lot of shows late 70s, early 80s that the vehicle was more or less another cast member.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you had the Dukes of Hazzard with the General Lee and the other vehicles in it. Cooter's F-100 and or F-150, and then Daisy's Jeep Scrambler, and then Uncle Jesse's Ford pickup. Boss Hogg's huge convertible. And then I missed Enos because he had that Barracuda.
Yeah.
I hated that show didn't last longer.
Well, he started off as comedy relief,
Mm-hmm.
and then for his own show, they wanted him to be a hero character.
Yeah. And more action
Yep.
oriented.
And it kind of changed the dynamic of the character,
Mm-hmm.
but not in a way that many people would have objected to. I hope, but
Yeah. But lots of times you get put in bad time slots up against stiff competition and you're not given a chance to make it. And going back to my thing about the vehicles being additional cast members, of course, you had Kit and Knight Rider, the van
mhm.
and the A-Team. Just to name a few. And you had the convertible and what was it, Dantana?
Yep.
It had Robert Urich in it. And God, I'm dating myself.
Oh, you had the futuristic flying car from Mantis. You had the
Yeah.
Viper from Nightman. You had well, I mean, loads of
You,
stuff. The
you had
the
Auto Man.
and the all the vehicles from the uh, I don't want to call it a remake, the sequel to Knight Rider.
Yeah.
Uh, the helicopter from Blue Thunder, the helicopter from Airwolf.
Yep.
Seriously, let's see if I can pull this off here.
Then you had the panel van from SWAT.
Now, is that visible to folks?
Yeah. Briscoe County Jr., Birds of Prey, Adam's Family. Oh, nice. Green Hornet, Faulty Towers, Downton Abbey, Dark Shadows, Doc
That
Martin's.
Dark Shadows is a huge file. It's got over 1,000 episodes of Dark Shadows.
Misfits of Science. Oh, I almost forgot about that one. Lost in
Yeah,
Space, Lewis and Clark. I'm not familiar with Hyperdrive, but
it
Lewis
was
and
a
Clark and Hogan's Heroes.
first two
Orville.
seasons of Orville. Um, everything I can find of Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
Space Precinct, lots and lots of Star Trek. Star Cops. Oh, I could not recommend Star Cops highly enough. The Prisoner, every episode of The Prisoner.
Truckers.
VR5. Yeah, Truckers is a Terry Pratchett claymation.
Hmm.
I do believe.
Well,
Every episode of $6 Million Man, Bionic Woman, and the reunion movies,
oh, yeah.
the live action Tick.
Well, you know, the funny thing was, I didn't realize it till I looked up who played him. But
Patrick
one of
Warburton.
one of the main characters of Briscoe County Jr. was the guy that played Shonuff in The Last Dragon.
Oh, okay. And I hope that switched. Here's the movies.
Python, Mel Brooks. You got some good stuff on there.
Oh man, and there is tons of Godzilla. Um, there is quite a few of the early Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff, including some things that most people won't think of it being in there. All three Terry Pratchett movies, all the Star Trek movies, Superman movies, the entire Thin Man series.
Yeah. Swamp Thing was also underrated in my opinion.
Yep, both of them were.
It was a little bit campy, but it wasn't so much so that you couldn't enjoy the action aspect of it.
Yep.
And I love the Ron Ely Doc Savage movies. I wish they'd done more of those.
They only did the one. They only ever did the one. We wanted more. We wanted more that weren't corny.
Yeah,
But
well,
never got around to it.
the thing is, Ron Ely had the
He
bronze
was
body and the $1 million smile.
he was the perfect person to play that part at that time.
Yeah.
The origin of the Lone Ranger.
Oh,
The
nice.
origin story.
I'll be right back. I've got to go get my laptop. I can't handle the office chair at the moment.
Okay,
Okay.
Give me just a bit.
that's fine.
It'll be all right. Yeah.
We can manage without you.
Well, gee, thanks.
I didn't say we were better off without you. I just said we could manage without you.
Okay.
There's
will-
a difference.
We will do our best.
Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Wait, That's
That doesn't rule out an awful lot, dear.
no, it doesn't. It really doesn't.
Well,
I'll be right back.
Now, I'm not real sure about the quality of that John Carter movie.
yeah.
It may be one of the it may be one of those bootleg cuts. I'm not sure that
Well,
everything is so dark you can't see it.
yeah.
Um,
John Carter was another movie that was just.
oh,
Oh,
that was
if they
criminally underappreciated.
if they had just given it a little bit of support.
Yeah, really.
I
Um,
mean, Lynn Collins as Tasha Torres. Oh man, I know there were contacts, but those eyes were. Good Lord, you could get lost in those things.
oh, and I don't remember the Starman stuff was the one from India or if it was from Turkey, but it was a bit weird. Um,
And you know, one of the things that I really missed were the mid, well, let's say 76 to 82 Disney movies. You know, The Cat from Outer Space,
mm-hmm.
uh, Unidentified Flying Oddball,
Yep.
Escape to Witch Mountain, Return to Witch Mountain.
Oh Lord, those were so good, and I've actually got one of I think his name was Alexander Keys that
Mm-hmm.
wrote. Well, I've got the movie novelization of Escape to Witch Mountain, and I've got uh, basically a prequel story that was the same universe as the Witch Mountain stories, and it also wound up being the basis for a William Shatner movie.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember the name of that one.
Was it his Tech War TV series mini
No,
movies?
no, 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 no. It was more like The People, or um, it was made a long time before Tech War, but
Oh,
it all tied into the original Alexander Keys novel, Forgotten Door, where
mm,
this kid from another alternate universe accidentally winds up in ours
mm-hmm.
and has all kinds of telepathic, telekinetic powers. And now I pulled this one up. I'm hoping it's still going
Mm-hmm.
on the share, but you see the sheer range of
Oh yeah.
Doctor Who.
You got Torchwood on there. You got
The complete Sarah Jane Adventures,
mm-hmm.
a video that puts in everything in River Song's timeline
Mm-hmm.
from her continuity, her
Yeah.
point of view. So when she meets the Doctor backwards, and I did that as a favor for a friend, and wound up going,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I got to save this. And
Well,
the
she's
comics,
another she's another one of those that at first glance you don't consider her a great beauty, but she's prettier than a lot of people would give her credit for and just
oh Lord,
pass.
yeah, she's absolutely gorgeous. I think she's astounding.
Yeah,
And then
she's just one of those that when you take a second glance at you like, yeah, I'm glad I took a second glance because I would
mhm.
too easily dismissed it to begin with.
And then there's this one.
Ooh, Herculoids.
Yes.
Band of
And
Cartoons.
an English dub of Cowboy Bebop.
Mm,
It's not the original language.
yeah,
Oh
I
Lord,
enjoy.
I need to delete Drawn Together. I don't want that showed at Hallowcon accidentally. That one's rather adult.
Oh,
Um,
it's very adult. Um,
uh,
I enjoyed. I mean, Granted, I hated the sad undertone of it, but the Hulk series was.
Oh,
And I loved the mini movie where he had Thor, who was played by Eric Allen Kramer, and he was a bodybuilder and actor, and
yeah.
he didn't need any CGI, nor did Lou Ferrigno.
Well, these are cartoons here.
Yeah, but
Um.
oh, and I remember the Thunderbirds from when I was little,
Oh yes. But
and I
there.
thought the 1980s movie of Popeye was so underrated with Robin Williams and
Yeah.
the guy that played Wimpy, who, interestingly enough, was the father of Molly Ringwald's character in 16 Candles.
Oh. Wow. Okay. And uh, as many of the Space Ghost cartoons as I could get.
Yeah.
Real Adventures of Johnny Quest, and I don't know.
Justice League. Nice.
Yes, all
Stingray, that was another one.
yes, Stingray and Supercar.
Well, do you remember the show Viper?
Yeah,
That not I'm talking about the late 90s, early 2000s ones that had a actual Dodge Viper that was
yeah,
oddly
yeah,
one of the stars of the show.
yeah.
That was another underrated series, I thought. And of course, the original Wonder Woman. Good God Almighty, Linda Carter's still a beauty.
hmm And there's this
Oh,
is
Celebrity Deathmatch. That was so much fun.
I've
Cheesy
only
as
got
all get out.
one or two of those. You know, it's not.
And Mills Lane unfortunately died. I used to love it. Let's get it on.
And this Eighth Man, that is a full movie length, hour and three quarters of. If you
Ooh,
remember the old
Star
Eighth Man,
Blazers.
oh yeah, Star Blazers,
Sorry,
uh,
I'm jumping all over the place.
uh, all the
Teen
TV.
Titans, awesome.
Oh yeah, and now it stopped before the teeny tiny Teen Titans Go,
Yeah,
because that was not for me.
a little too cheesy.
Yeah,
Um, damn,
Mighty Max. Oh, I love that one. Um,
yeah.
had all kinds of great voice talent in that one. Tim Curry, Richard Mall, um,
Okay, what is LOSH?
Legion of Superheroes.
Okay, cool.
That was I don't remember if that was two seasons or just one.
Yeah. Um, yeah,
Oh,
you got some really good stuff on there.
Joe 90. That's another
Mhm.
Super Marionation. Um, the
Yeah,
Fantastic Four. Let me look at that.
I will
Um,
tell you which series I loved, and I bought a copy of it, but it was probably bootlegged, and it was uh, a few episodes were in fairly good condition, but the quality of the transfer was skipping and bumping and staticky, and I was really disappointed because I really wanted it to be. It was a Filmation product, the
mhm.
Tarzan Lord of the Jungle series, where Robert Ridgely is the voice of Tarzan. Robert Ridgely, you know how some actors, they get up in years and they don't get the good roles that they got as they were younger, and they more or less take what
Yeah.
they can get. Well, he was the Colonel, who was the older guy, along with Burt Reynolds, who were producers in the movie Boogie Nights.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
was loosely based upon the life of adult film star John Holmes.
Oh, Lord. Now I'm really taking a deep dive here.
Thomas Dolby, wow.
That's a live concert. Yeah.
You know, he married female actress Catherine Beller.
I did not know. I don't pry.
I mean, it's just something I found out reading an article about him.
Oh. The Complete War of the Worlds.
Nice.
Live. I mean, seriously. What can I say? That was a really good one. Mark Bolan.
Yeah.
There's
He's
not
got a
many of
Facebook.
those. There's not many of those, but there's enough to wet your whistle.
Yeah.
There's a couple of specials on prog rock and stuff that was never widely released on Old Grey Whistle Test.
Sorry.
Several things, documentaries on David Bowie. Oh, all the young dudes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That is probably the best version of that.
Yes.
Hawkwind Panic. Hawkwind. That one should not be watched by children. Let's just
Yeah, you might want
anyway.
to click on that one. Yeah, you got some good stuff on there.
Yeah,
Dan. Really good stuff. And I sent you a photo.
I left off. Go ahead. I'm going to stop sharing now.
Yeah, I sent you a photo of Miss Thomas Dolby
Oh, okay.
in Messenger on your personal one.
Right. And I just killed it, so I'm sorry. I'll have to look at it later. I didn't realize I still had Messenger open, so yeah, that's like I said, Joe Dog or
That's quite a
anybody.
collection you have there.
And like I said, that's not everything because I left out another terabyte or two of other stuff that was on the original drive.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, no, that's not something I want to take out and because I've got about 2 terabytes of comic books that have been digitized, and they go all the way back to the 40s.
Wow!
And you have to have a special program to read them.
Yes,
it's something that uses it reads PDFs as if they were JPEGs, basically.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a neat little program. It doesn't take up much space, but I'm going.
Even
well,
better.
This is to take to Hallowcon, so I don't think anybody's going to be sitting there reading comic books. Joe Dog has movies he wants to play. Well, they're not going to be reading comic books on the media movie screen. So
yeah, no, that they're not. But if they ask nicely, they might ask to, if you had it on there. That is.
Well, This was supposed to be a 5 terabyte drive, and it turned out to be 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
And 4 is the amount that I have on the 10 terabyte drive I copied these from.
Mm-hmm.
So I could have filled this thing up and not been able to add new movies or new cartoons or anything
Yeah.
else to it. So I go, hey, it's a portable. It's supposed to go to conventions and whatnot. So it will be uh, not the full Monty, but as close as I can get without getting arrested. Um,
Yeah.
but no, there's loads of stuff on. And to tell you the truth, if somebody wants to sit down and watch every episode of Herculoids, we'll just plug it up to their laptop and let them do it if Joe Dog doesn't want that to happen on
Yeah.
the media player. So,
Yeah. Um, we were talking earlier about kind of anti-heroes and
yeah,
not necessarily the white cowboy hat heroes.
yes.
I was thinking another guy that was good at playing either bad guys or good guys or guys that were grudgingly good, shall we say?
Hmm.
Actor John Saxon.
Oh, yes, the man you love to hate. That's what we called him back in college.
Yeah,
He
but
he's such a good actor,
mm,
but he would had to make a living, so he'd accept any script that was handed to him.
well, he accept a lot of them. I wouldn't say just any of them, but he was the dad for the protagonist in the original Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. He did
He was
at
also
least
in Enter the Dragon.
yep. He also did at least two Roddenberry pilots for TV shows that didn't get picked up.
There was one he was in with Richard Hatch. I can't remember the name of it, where they were kind of in a post-apocalyptic world that I don't know was Earth or the time travel to or something, but where he was kind of a warlord. I can't think of the name of that thing to save my life.
Well, he was always a hero character in the two Roddenberry scripts that
Yeah,
he was in the and it was a post-apocalyptic world. One of them he had something similar to the Landmaster that he was roaming around in with his crew, and another one started off on a space station, and they had to go down to the post-apocalyptic Earth and try and figure things out down there. Um, but he has done a lot of stuff. He's even in a few $6 Million Man episodes, one or two at least.
yeah,
Um, and lots and lots and lots and lots of movies. But he's either the hero or a damn good villain. Can't recall an anti hero role that he did. That would probably have been good for him to do. But really, we didn't get into anti heroes until um, 20 years after his heyday. So there were anti heroes, but he just wasn't playing those parts.
Prisoners of the Lost Universe.
Okay. Now, that was one that I am not familiar with, but I can just about imagine.
Richard Hatch was in it. He was in it. Kay Lenz was in it. And yeah, let's see. 3 people are transported in a parallel reality where they find they must use modern technology but medieval weapons in order to save the citizenry. It wasn't the greatest thing, but it had Richard Hatch in it, and I was a big Battlestar Galactica and Richard Hatch fan, so.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you another one who was great at playing villains was Richard Lynch.
Refresh my memory.
He had blonde hair, kind of a mullet, short in the front, party in the back. He had facial scars, and he was a villain in one of the Buck Rogers episodes and a bunch of other stuff.
Oh, was it the Gerard, the pilot episode for Buck Rogers?
Let me see.
He would have been playing. Oh damn! Now I can't remember the villain's name for that one. I should know this. Well, I probably do know it. I've just forgotten it.
Okay, let me find out. He was on an episode of Starsky and Hutch. Actually, he was on 3 episodes. Season 4, episode 20, episode 21, and episode 22.
Okay, that's not the fellow I was thinking of.
He was on Murder, She Wrote. Don't know that you watched that one often, but...
I did, but whoever the guest star was, they were the villain. It was kind of obvious there after you got used to it. Not a bit like Murder on the Orient Express, where, spoiler alert for a 100-year-old book, everybody did it. I don't actually remember when Murder on the Orient Express came out. Probably in the 1920s.
Do you remember the episode of he was on Battlestar Galactica, but he was in the 1980 series. He played the character Wolf.
I saw Galactica 1980, but I don't remember any of it. I saw the original Battlestar Galactica and don't remember a whole heap of it, but individual
I
moments.
was thinking he was on Gun on Ice Planet Zero, but he wasn't one of the criminals on it. But he would have fit in right with that bunch.
Hey, yeah, that was a good episode too.
Oh yeah, just again, I sent you a picture on Messenger, so you'll know who he is now.
Okay, I'll pick that up. Well, let's see. I can get there.
I thought I did.
Using the other computer. Ha 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 ha. Whoa!
Yeah, that's Mrs. Thomas Dolby.
All right now. Oh, you like that one so much you sent it twice.
Well, I was sending you one without all the script on it.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah. Hang on a second. You'll recognize this guy. When you see it, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
He was bad guy at a lot of stuff.
I can see why. I can see why.
And he was good at play. He was like John Saxon. He was good in about anything he played, but he excelled at playing bad guys.
Well, a lot of actors really enjoy playing bad guys because it's a much more nuanced role than playing the heroes, which are just
Well,
supposed to be.
not only that, they could cut loose. They don't have to behave themselves.
That's the thing, yeah.
But
I don't know what
yeah,
that cut
that
off.
was fun.
Oh, okay. That's the outlet strip that the external hard drive was plugged into. That's why I heard the alarm. Um, it's the same one that the iPad is plugged into to charge up, and the iPad just hit 100%. So turning the
Nice.
charger off. Hey, um, that's all right. 30 minutes from now, it'll be about 60%. So it's no big deal.
Mhm.
Uh,
Um, I don't know if you've already heard, but LibertyCon took a little bit longer to sell out today. It was a little over 4 hours.
uh, okay. I wasn't expecting that. I expected it to go well under 30 minutes, but
No.
oh,
Well, I think some people forgot it is a Saturday. It was noon. And also, they're probably looking ahead and trying to figure out if they could afford it or not, because
hmm
I know it's nice to be able to roll over if you have to, but some of them don't want to have to fool with it in the first place. So.
Well, ours rolled over, so we're on the rollover list. I already checked that to make sure.
Yeah.
So we got that made. Now, Lindsay's going to be consuite staff
Oh,
next time, so we'll be able to book our room when constaff books theirs
yeah.
instead of
The
waiting on the huge rush.
well, the room block opens up on for everybody on October 2nd of this year.
hmm And staff will be, I think, a week or two before that, and it won't be something that if you don't act within
Mm-hmm.
5 minutes or less, you lose out.
Yeah.
So that's going to be nice. That's going to be nice to have a little bit more leeway as well as
Mm.
advance warning. I'm going to have to go down the hall. I will be
Okay.
right back.
Fun. Um, I was expecting the return of Megan, but it doesn't look like it's happening just yet. So, hope everybody's enjoying their weekend so far. A lot of stuff going on if you're into fandom. Congregate in, I believe, the Greensboro area of North Carolina. Imaginarium in Louisville, Kentucky. And probably some other stuff I haven't even. It's leaving my brain at the moment. If you tuned in late, we've talked about food. We've talked about a little bit about music. We've talked a lot about TV and people playing roles of bad guys and vehicles and their impact in shows. And just mentioned one of our favorite conventions, LibertyCon, sold out today. If you couldn't get a badge, there is still an opportunity via the wait list. If something comes open, you might be able to get one at a later point. Me and Dan have yet to discuss much music yet, but it is still about 45 minutes before the end of the show, and I'm pretty sure that subject will be broached before much longer. And we had Megan join in and add to the show and the conversation, and she had to duck out, and hopefully she will return before much longer.
Well, nobody is committed to doing this
No.
except me. And believe me, if I was here by myself, I would pretty much just go, well, let me tell you what's going on. And when I run out of things to say, I'll just go, good night, everybody, and play the end credits. I have no shame whatsoever.
So did you hear my recap of what's happened
no,
so far?
No. I have, for some reason, the Wi-Fi no longer, for the headphones, no longer goes to the rest of the house like it used to. I've had to move the router and angle it so that the Roku gets a signal, but the headphones are not. They're not. I think they're going directly to the computer rather than through the Wi-Fi. So
Yeah.
they're not having the range that they once had.
Yeah.
So no, I did not hear that, but thank you for doing it.
Yeah, I just basically went over what we already discussed and announced that Megan had joined in and mentioned that if you're into fandom and conventions, that Congregate is going on in the Greensboro area of North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, and Imaginarium is in Louisville this weekend.
And my publisher is at Imaginarium right now. And I have heard good things about Congregate. Sounds like something that would be nice to check out.
It is a long drive. I'm here to tell you.
Where is it?
Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
It's a longer drive for you than it is for me.
Yeah.
I'm a whole lot closer to to the Carolinas than you are.
Yeah. I mean, Murphy isn't too far away for me, but it's a little bit of a drive.
Now, in other trivia, our dear viewer, I have it on good authority that my publisher intends to put out the new manuscripts that I've sent him before the end of the year. I shall probably be getting contract and proof copies sometime this fall. And
That's good news.
We will try and get all the last minute editing and everything out of the way in time for those to hit the market as soon as possible. I mean, I've only been waiting for 2 years. the plague has ruined a lot of stuff. There were a lot of things that got precedence, a lot more important than running a publishing empire, basically. Even if it's a teeny tiny empire, it still counts. It's an empire. There were a lot of unfortunate things that occurred to slow down the production lines, and I would be glad to get back to work on even more stuff to submit. Now that I've got the reassurance that it's actually going to happen, makes me feel a whole lot better. Makes me feel more confident in finishing up a couple of unfinished works that really do need an audience.
Yeah.
And a couple of them are they're kind of stretches for me because they're out of my wheelhouse. Tried a couple of things that are brand new to me, and I hope I can make it work. I'm right down to the wire on one of them, and I'm going. If I do what needs to be done according to story logic, people are going to burn me in effigy. So I may wind up doing it anyway because that's the way the story demands to be written. If I can find a way out of it that doesn't screw everything up, I will. But
Well, it's good that you're stretching your boundaries as a writer and getting out of your comfort zone, because it does help you improve, even if it takes a bit longer for that to happen.
Well, it's not the one I'm speaking of. It's not a genre I usually write in, and there's a whole new set of rules to learn,
Yeah.
genre specific. But please don't take this as bragging, but I do know how to tell a story. And regardless of the genre, a story is a story.
Yeah.
There are certain rules that you best follow in order to be entertaining to readers. Sometimes you can get away with bending those rules a little bit.
Yeah.
Once in a while, if the story's good enough, you can break rules.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, the genre itself imposes a certain structure on what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, if I were writing an adventure story, I could get away with a certain set of things. If I were writing a steampunk story, it's a totally different set of rules I've got to play by. Writing science fiction, pretty much have to either have it so character driven that nobody notices that it's basically Pulp Fiction, or stick so closely to easily extrapolated from the present day sort of science to make it much more believable. Sci-fi has its own constraints over what you're allowed to do. Well, not allowed. That's a bad choice. What you can get away with doing.
Yeah.
And what the readers will just go, I'm going to throw this book up against the wall right now, and I'm never going to buy nothing you did again. I never want to cross that line, but
Yeah, because it
uh,
takes a lot to get to that point, and you got to really, really
well, you
go over the top or edge or however you want to word it.
but basically you have to disobey story logic, and story logic is the same across multiple genres, and it works for TV and movies as
Hmm.
well as the written word. Um, okay, some plays and musicals don't need to have story logic strictly. Got to
Yeah,
have something, but you don't have to really toe the line on story logic there. Um, but for
excuse me.
general sci-fi, there's I don't want to call it unwritten rules, but there is a story logic that applies to whether it's written, whether it's TV, whether it's movies, whether it's science fiction, whether it's fantasy,
Yeah,
whether it's mystery. Horror has its own set of rules too,
yeah.
but story logic still has to go in there somewhere. Um, and I I don't write horror, um, mostly because the things that would frighten me would probably be mundane to a lot of other folks. Um,
Yeah, because some horror fans, it takes a lot to scare them.
hmm
And there's some that it actually doesn't take a lot. They just love the adrenaline rush from being scared.
Yeah, you've got and if you're doing that, you've really got to tighten your style up and make it a real page turner. You can't
Eh,
afford to lose their interest for a single paragraph.
Yeah, and you have to know your audience.
hmm
That's the thing about it. When you're in your wheelhouse and your comfort zone, especially if you publish stuff before and you've had people buy it and people come back and buy it, you kind of know what you're doing. When you step out into one of those areas that's outside of your familiarity and comfort zone,
It gets
it's
scary.
usually either sink or swim.
It gets scary. You're sitting there, you're going, I know the words are flowing. I know the prose is readable and hopefully it's compelling, but am I following the genre rules?
Well,
Is this something that the folks that read this sort of thing are going to go, uh, seen it, and then put it aside, or going, oh, okay, this is cool.
yeah, but
I aim for this is cool, but um, if it's not my genre, I'm at a loss as to if I'm doing it right.
well, I have an author friend that told me one time there's only essentially 34 stories, and everything is a variation of one of those types of stories. So
Actually, I was
you've got to make it compelling because you've got to put enough of a difference or make the characters compelling enough that you're going to ignore the fact, oh, I've read something similar to this. But if the story pulls you in, you throw that out of your mind because you're too interested in reading what happens next.
that's one of the things that makes me glad that I write um, very visual as well as character driven stories.
Well,
So
that's the
when
thing of a good writer, though, in my opinion. It's kind of like listening to a baseball game on the radio. If you've got the right announcer and commentator, they can make you close your eyes if you're in a position where you can. If you're driving, don't do this. but visualize what's happening as they're calling the action.
Mm-hmm. And then you've read some of my stuff, so you know when it comes to that in my wheelhouse, I can do it
Mm-hmm.
extremely well. Out of my wheelhouse, I'm unsure, and this being unsure can
Yep.
lead you to uh, make unfortunate choices. As
Yeah,
far as
or
you've
it
you've
also
got
leads to self-doubt and uncertainty.
exactly, but you've got to understand the different rule set for each genre as you explore it as a writer. And
Yeah, but
God,
that also helps you become a better writer.
well, yeah. Um,
Not that you aren't good to begin with, but you know.
well, one of my main strengths is uh, putting relatable characters in fantastic situations and making it believable to a reader.
Mhm.
If you step away from the interesting characters and you're just told the situations, you go, that's nuts. How the that's how does that work? No, that's not going to work. But you get a good point of view character for the reader,
Well, and not
and
only
you
that,
drop
what
them
you
into
do
something really strange.
is you
You can pull
layer
it off. You
in,
can pull it off.
you layer in the background. You tell a little bit about
Oh
this
yeah,
happened back there, and then later on, you're like, you expand upon that a little more as the story fleshes itself out in your head and onto the paper or the word processing program or whatever it is you're using. And that's how you build this background. Like, oh, yeah, well, this makes sense because this happened back then and then this happened later on. So naturally, this dovetails right in with what's already been told about it.
you really this thing and this thing that we learned about early makes this really strange thing work. It's logical.
Yeah. I actually
Even
sound like I
even
know
when
what
it
I'm
wouldn't
talking about.
normally be. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Hey, writing is a form of mental illness, and we undertake it voluntarily until it's a compulsion.
well, not only that, it becomes where you have to do it. You have to get that story out,
Yep,
or
there's
you're
where
going to
the
go crazy.
that's where the compulsion comes in. You have to write. You have to write this right now so that you can write that later on, and they're not even the same stories. It's this.
Well, that's the funny, strange, and ironic thing about the universe. Inspiration can strike at any time and sometimes in the weirdest possible ways and places.
Terry Pratchett used to say there were these uh, subatomic particles that were actually ideas, and he called them uh, um, inspirons. I do believe, if I remember correctly, and
That makes
basically
a lot of sense.
they sleep through the universe like oh, what's the particle that
Drifting particles.
what's the particle that can't exist slower than light? It has to travel faster than light. Uh, um, um, not neutrons,
Protons,
not neutrons.
electrons.
It's the one they have to use freaking iceberg to detect, and then they can only get one every 6 months.
Mm.
Oh,
Well,
neutrinos.
yeah, neutrinos, subatomic particles.
So basically, they're whizzing through everything as if uh, a cubic mile of lead was no more substantial than a Kleenex. And every once in a while, they'll mm, run through the brain of a creative person and hit a neuron that sparks an idea that turns into a fledgling story that the writer turns on his or her individual talent to flesh that out into an entire fully developed story just because one circuit in your brain flipped from left to right or right to left or up to
Mhm.
down or down to up, and there it is. There's the whole thing right there, just like a cascade of neurons firing from this one little thing. Just and it's no different from a nuclear reactor going on and on because one neutron happened to strike this one unstable. Here we go about writers. Unstable
Mhm.
uh, atom and knock a few electrons and protons loose and release a couple more neutrons. And before you know
Start a
it,
chain reaction.
you got a chain reaction. You've either got a fully fledged reactor or you've got a star.
Well, I've got a less elegant explanation based upon what you've said. It's sort of like a neutrino goes into a brain and says, I choose you, Pikachu.
Don't make me have to buy a new keyboard. And,
Sorry,
and
I've been holding on to that ever since you first explained it. And I'm just like, that fits so perfectly.
uh-huh. Yeah. Choose your weapons. Uh and there's also a great deal of roll for initiative. Um
Yep.
and the writer is an awful lot like the 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 DM for a role playing game.
Yep.
You know exactly everything you want to happen, but your players don't.
Hmm.
So you have to guide them through this construction you made in order to get them from point A where they start to the actual end of the adventure where
Yep.
they're licking their wounds and applying bandages and counting up what treasure they've earned and what magic items they've acquired and level up. And the people doing the counting, the level up, and everything else, they're not only your characters, but they're your readers
Yep.
because your readers will identify with
Hmm.
some of the characters.
And
Eh,
sometimes it's not the ones you expect them to or think
I
they
was just about to say that. Yes, sometimes they, if you're really good, you're going to have people going, "That's such a cool villain. I like them." Or That's such a cool hero. I like them. Or
Hmm.
I hate the hero, but I love the villain. Oh, well, I'm not fond of the hero or the villain, but this side character that's supposed to be
Hmm.
comic relief makes more sense than anybody else in the book. I like this. And on and on and on and on. Um,
Han Solo, anyone?
Thank you. Uh,
Because he wasn't supposed to be the main character, but so many people identified him like because he had this. I don't know about this shit attitude about him the whole way.
I'm only in it for the money, princess.
Yep,
And then he winds up with the princess. So,
yep, that he does, and he
oh, yeah.
also um gets to where his, shall we say, original view is somewhat modified.
Well, that's the thing. You have to make your characters change and grow through the course of the story.
That's part of their journey.
Otherwise, otherwise you're writing. I don't want to say pulp fiction, but you're not going to gain as many fans from your readers if you don't write characters um, that change over time, that
Yeah,
grow.
yeah.
Um, now,
And that's
now,
part of their journey, whether they're a hero or not.
yeah, really. Um,
I mean,
well,
they have to go through the travel or the tribulations that they go through to get to their development at the end of the story or the end of that particular story.
yeah, and that's the thing. They have to grow, they have to evolve, they have to change. It doesn't have to be by a huge amount, but without that character development, um, it's
And they can also change in a way you don't expect them to change.
oh, yeah,
Someone that wasn't necessarily a bad guy winds up being a bad guy. Or someone that necessarily wasn't good winds up being good at some point later on in the story.
but enough about Kylo Ren. Uh,
Oh God, don't get me started.
I know. Hero's journey, right? Um,
No, I have certain vehement opinions about him, and they're not all pretty.
well, mine aren't all pretty either, but I see
Well,
I see how his character changed and grew.
well,
Um,
here's my thing. Not knocking Adam Driver, but Han and Leia would have had a better looking kid than that. First off, number two, as much money as that studio has, they couldn't have found a better looking helmet or built a better looking helmet than that. And three, and probably most important, they would have not named him Ben. That would have been Luke's son's name.
hmm
And I won't go into all the story.
No, they wouldn't have named him
Stuff.
Chewie.
I'm
they
just
really, they really would have. Um,
no,
oh
they wouldn't have
Lord,
named him Chewie, but they would have. They might have named him Anakin, or they might have named him Bale after her adopted father.
yep.
But they wouldn't have named him Ben. That would have been the chosen name of Luke's son.
hmm
And like I said, I won't go off into that because all that's going to do is piss me off and cause me to start cussing. And, I don't need to go with that route at this late at night. I put it as politely as I could put it.
Oh, and see, there's the thing. It's such a complex set of stories. Even though it's one story from beginning to end, it's also individual character arcs all the way through, and each set of movies
Mm-hmm.
had its own little internal arc, and each movie had its own set of character arcs that had to follow this logical chain from point A to point Z. Writing is one of those things that it's not easy, but it's I don't want to say it's not horribly difficult because I know some writers that work their ass off on sweating over every plot point in order to
Yeah.
get everything lined up perfectly to go from point A to point Z.
Yeah. Well,
It's not easy. Um,
my brain's not that neat.
um,
I
we
got ADHD and some other things that make me being able to put everything together. Now I get good ideas at points, and I try to remember to write them down.
mhm.
Uh, but I'm not always at a point where I can put a lot of chunks together. And I have had points where I've like, this is good, but this needs to go later on in the story.
Yes, yes. That's oh,
Or
I am so grateful for the invention of word processors where you can go, this is a great scene. It doesn't fit here. I'm going to move it over yonder. And then
well,
you write between here and over yonder to make it sure that it
yeah,
works the way you intended it to work. Uh,
yeah.
and then you go back and edit to make sure you got it fine tuned so it does work. Um, we basically started off talking about, hey, have you seen that Babylonian Tupperware? And now we're talking about, ooh, writing is hard work. Well, it is hard work, but it's fun work. And
Oh, before I forget, while I'm thinking about it, I was just thinking about you talking about Roku a little bit ago, and you mentioned Babylonian Tupperware or something like that.
yeah,
Babylon 5 is being shown on the Roku channel. I don't know if you ever watched that show, but God, it was enjoyable.
I videotaped every episode. And because I was on swing shift at the time,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to see every episode live,
Yeah.
but I had it recorded. That was the time in my life when I had 5 VHS recorders hooked up to
Mm-hmm.
my cable box,
Yeah.
and all of them had different timers for different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I have seen almost all of Babylon 5. Um,
Well, like I said, if you can't place it, you can turn on the Roku channel and you can find it and you can watch it straight through and you can pause and stop anytime you want along the way.
mhm. Lindsay keeps telling me I need to hook up one of our spare Roku things back here, and she's gonna have one in the bedroom soon
Mhm.
as we can get it wired into the TV that's now got its own special shelf
Well,
that
the great
she
thing
and I
about
did.
it's free.
Uh-huh.
Now they do have stuff you can pay for, but that's free.
Yep. We do subscribe to a very few streaming services. We've had the satellite dish turned off. Uh,
Tubi's
Mostly
another favorite.
we got horribly dissatisfied with all the satellite services because you had to pay for 200 channels
Yeah. Dan, I got
and
to
you
go down the
might
hall. I'll
watch
be
three
right back.
already. So now it's my turn to vamp while he is gone. Yeah. We had the satellite dish turned off because we were tired of paying for a huge channel package of things that did not interest us in the least in order to get the less than a handful of channels that we actually watched regularly. And on the Roku, we've got we got a subscription to BritBox, so Lindsay gets to watch her British soap operas and crime dramas and mystery shows and things like that, and everything else that she's interested in. We've got Disney Plus, so I can watch all the Marvel superhero stuff. Uh, we've got Netflix for loads and loads and loads of stuff. Um, we've got the CW so that we could watch the the DC comic book stuff mostly, um, and that one's free. So you still have to put up with commercials for that, and unfortunately, it's the same three or four commercials all through the show. But you know, you learn how to cope with that. Basically, that's time to go down the hall while the commercials play. Um, no big deal.
Yep. That's a good, very good time to go down the hall when the commercials play.
Uh huh.
Or if
And
you
now,
need to look at it, email or a text or whatever, that's another great time to do that.
yes, indeed. Um, oh, we've got what, 7 minutes? Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, we did it. Just you and me.
Well,
With a little
we
help from Megan.
yeah, more than a little, I'd say. Give the lady some credit.
Oh yeah. I'm surely you figured out I'm a big fan of understatement.
Well, I was writing it off as you're a big fan of Megan, so
Well,
believe me,
I'm
I
a big
I
fan of you too, so
I don't know anybody that's attended Hallowcon that hasn't become a big fan of Megan. So, um,
well, her works are slowly becoming the stuff of legend.
well deservedly so.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're lucky to have her.
Oh hell yeah!
We're, we're, we're lucky she considers us friends.
Were you there the other night when I don't know if it was a green room or if it was uh, Thursday night, stupid o'clock, but Joe Dog was there, and she goes, "Yes, well, you do know that I'm going to take the next 2 years off." And Joe Dog had this deer in the headlights panic look on his face. She set him up. I mean, really.
Oh, he deserves it. I mean, good grief, some of the shit he's pulled over the years.
And then when she says, "Oh no, just kidding," the look of relief was priceless. I'm just sitting here going,
Yeah.
I'm glad I wasn't drinking anything at the time that happened, because I would have had to buy a new monitor, a new keyboard, probably a new iPad. Oh Lord, she got him good.
Well, like I said, he deserves it. Some of the shit he's pulled over the years.
Oh, yeah.
Before I got to know him real good, my name for him was Asshole.
And how has that changed now that you know him better?
He's not as big of an asshole. But there is more to the guy than the smart ass and the trying to be a bit too clever for his own good sometimes.
It's so sharp he's going to cut himself one day. Ah.
Yeah, well, he shouldn't be playing with knives in the first fucking place. Yeah, we've become good friends over the years.
It's really easy to do. Let me tell you, it is really easy to do. When I first started going to LibertyCon with Lindsay,
Mm-hmm.
Joe Dog and Donna were a couple of the first people that we met.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to look back. I mean, it's just been a lot of fun ever since. Even though he can get annoying at times,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's on purpose, because he tries to get annoying. That's his entertainment, is to see how many people he can annoy at the same time for however long he can get away with it.
Yeah,
Somebody else catches on.
His inner smartass has too much of a need to show itself.
Well, the thing is, his inner smartass doesn't have any kryptonite to gear him down any. It's just,
unless he pisses Donna off, which she treats him like Ruth Buzzy does Artie Johnson.
I keep. Now this is like another married couple that we know, who we're waiting on the frying pan to come out and go kabong, but I wouldn't want to be without either couple, and I just wish that Joe Dog and oh great, now I'm having a senior moment. Ted would invest in a crash helmet, you know.
Yeah.
Because one of these days they're going to say something that brings out that frying pan.
Yeah. Well, I already showed you pictures of what happened when the pie pan came out.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I remember that.
You should have seen it live. I did. It was like, damn.
That was assault and battery right there.
Well, here's the thing. They were people that weren't necessarily the biggest Joe Dog fans. It was like, are you okay, man? Normally they wouldn't give a shit, but they were like, damn, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, well,
So
You you buys your ticket and you takes your chances. Sometimes the roller coaster does not end when you expect it to, even if you are allowed to get off and walk away at the very end.
yeah.
Well, we've gone 2 hours, Chris.
Yep, we made it. Just
Let's
like Joe
go.
Joe Dog did last show.
So let's go ahead and play the bedtime story and think about
I enjoyed it.
going to bed.
Go good, guys.
Go good, guys. Thank you for being here, Chris. Thank
You're
you for
welcome.
being here, Megan. You may or may not watch this in the future to see what we got up to when you weren't here, but yeah. And hopefully everybody that will eventually see this will have as much fun as we had tonight.
Yep. And enjoy. And like I said, go good, guys.
On that note, let's go to the party.
Transmission overload.
System will shut down. 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 System will shut down.